Welcome to this Spokane and Coeur d'Alene housing market update for July 2025. This video is for you if you just want the facts about the real estate market without any of the nonsense fluff, any of the pitches, or any of the sales hooks. By the end of this video, you'll know what you need to know about our local housing markets here so that you can be an informed buyer or seller. It's that simple. My name is Phil Wells. I'm a real estate agent licensed in both Washington and Idaho. If you do want to connect with me privately about something, my details will be in the description to this video. In this video, we'll start by taking a look at mortgage rates. We'll then take a deep dive into what's been happening this past month in our local markets of Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Before we get going, go and follow me on Instagram. It's my goal to double my following there, and I'm making pretty good progress, so go ahead and help me out with that by giving me a follow. So let's get into it. First, let's look at the behavior of the 30-year conventional mortgage over the past month. Now, if you're using a 15-year conventional mortgage, maybe you're using an FHA loan, a VA loan, a USDA loan, this section is still relevant because we're looking at overall trends here, not just this one mortgage product. If you are interested in the current rates for your particular mortgage product, there will be a link to Mortgage News Daily, and you can find out your rates there. At the start of June, we were at 6.96%. We then saw a steady decline in mortgage rates throughout June, but as July kicked off, rates picked up a little bit to where they are today at 6.79%. So a 0.2% drop in mortgage rates from the start of June to where we are now in July. That's pretty favorable progress if you're a buyer. That's honestly what we want to see. Inflation is doing pretty well. It's quite low right now, and it has been low for a while. And the market seems to want a rate drop. But the Federal Reserve is sticking, at least for now, to its 4.5% federal funds rate. But a big shakeup is on the horizon when it comes to mortgage rates and the Federal Reserve. President Trump has made it plain that he will not be renewing or recommending Jerome Powell for another term as Federal Reserve Chairman. He's likely to install someone that's going to be more favorable to his policy of lower rates. So here's my biggest piece of advice for this entire video, and it's primarily aimed at the buyers out there. I saw this post from the National Association of Realtors earlier on this month. For those of you who are able, it may be an opportune time to get into the market while the inventory is plentiful and buyers can negotiate for lower prices. So if you can afford to buy now in this window of opportunity before rates start to fall in earnest and it becomes much more difficult to be a buyer. Now let's look at our first of two local real estate markets, starting with Spokane. These are the latest figures that are available. They detail actual sale events that took place in June. Sales here are up a strong 3.9%, which comes off the back of a nearly 7% increase in sales that was reported last month. Summer seems to be shaping up to be a solid selling season this year. Median home prices here in Spokane are $435,000, and they're up 1.3% on a year-over-year basis. That's really not a small amount of money, and these prices just continue to rise. Despite the headwinds that home prices have been seeing in terms of interest rates for the last 3 years, home prices just continue to rise. I saw this post just this morning that home prices are expected to continue to rise out towards 2030. It just goes to show that given enough time, you always win in terms of real estate appreciation. Inventory continues to be low at just 2.4 months of supply here, but it is encouraging to see those numbers in terms of active inventory and new listings start to grow. I'm adding this section as I'm editing the video. I realize I didn't explain this point very well. While inventory is low relative to the rest of the nation, this is a high level of inventory for Spokane. This is something that home buyers in particular should take pleasure in hearing about. More inventory means fewer competitive situations. It means you're more likely to connect with the home in terms of getting a contract on it than you otherwise would be if the market were less favorable and inventory was lower. And you can see days on market of 14 days. So if your home is priced right, you'll likely have a contract on it inside of 2 weeks, right now here in Spokane. So overall, it does seem like a good time to be a buyer here in Spokane. And as that economist from the National Association of Realtors mentioned in that post that I highlighted, It does feel like an opportune time to get in while inventory is high and you can negotiate potentially a good price, or things like inspection concessions or closing costs along the way. If you're a seller in the Spokane market, then know that you should have a contract in around 2 weeks if you're priced right. The key there is being priced right. It also means that proper preparation is key to selling your home here. You want to give your listing the best possible chance of success. That means taking care of the key negative distractors, things that are obvious, that peeling paint as soon as you walk into the door, those sorts of things that just put buyers off. Take care of them now and you'll reap the benefits by having your listing sold in that 2-week window. That being said, with the best preparation in the world, cancelled contracts are pretty common right now if you're a seller. Buyers are less willing to meet halfway, they're less willing to take on the nose those inspection items that come up along the way and just know that they have to deal with them when they move in. So again, proper preparation is key. Take care of those things and give your listing the best shot of success. Now let's look at the Coeur d'Alene market and see what's going on there. As with Spokane, these are the latest figures that are available. They detail actual sales from June. Coeur d'Alene's sales moved up 2.5% in June, which is positive news given last month's 8.3% slump in sales. So far this year, sales are ahead only 1.1%. So not exactly a screaming market here in Coeur d'Alene when it comes to sales. In terms of months of supply, we are at 5.96 months. So as near as makes no difference, 6 months worth of supply here. That's not what you want to see if you're a seller, because high inventory increases the risk that your listing is just going to get lost in a sea of inventory. Home prices are up 2.6% to $555,000 on a year-over-year basis here in June. So that's one thing to take away. While there are a lot of homes available for sale here in the Coeur d'Alene area, people, buyers, and sellers are recognizing that those homes are valuable. They're not losing their value. In fact, home prices are increasing here in Coeur d'Alene. Median days on market in Coeur d'Alene are 63 days. So approximately 2 months to get a contract here in Coeur d'Alene if you're a seller. That is a long time to wait on the market as a seller to see whether your home is going to sell or not. Remember, that days on market is the time it takes to get a contract, not the time it takes to completely close the sale. So that means don't leave anything to chance. Fix those obvious issues you know are wrong with your home. It might mean taking up a couple weekends prior to the listing, but it will be worth it and it's critical in this market. So what do you do if you're a buyer in the Coeur d'Alene market? Well, buyers in this market should be looking at 6 months worth of inventory and 63 days on market as a sign that they can look for homes at their leisure. They don't necessarily need to rush out the very same day or the next day when a new listing pops up. Buyers should recognize though that this doesn't necessarily mean that they can just lowball and try to bag the deal of the century. Homes are retaining their value here in Coeur d'Alene. That being said, doesn't necessarily mean you can't pick up inspection concessions or closing costs along the way. So in short, you can likely buy the home that you want to buy, but you're unlikely to close feeling like you've got an absolute bargain here. Sellers in this market should be looking at a few factors that are unfavorable to them, lots of inventory and 63 days on market, as a sign that selling their home is not going to be a passive endeavor. As I mentioned before, take care of those things that you know are wrong with your home. You live in it, you know all the little issues that there are. You want to get rid of any negative distractors that a buyer is likely to encounter when viewing your home. Cleaning, staging, and staying on top of the lawn care are going to be critical to getting your listing sold in this market. And above all, your pricing strategy is going to be key. If you find yourself saying these words, let's just list it there and see how it goes for 2 weeks. Please, please, please remember, and I'm saying this as someone who isn't yet your agent, just take this advice. That's the wrong strategy in this market. That's it for this video. As always, I am open to feedback. If there's something that's missing from this video that might help you make a decision as a buyer or a seller, let me know. Leave a comment down below or send me an email. My details are in the description to this video. And if you are looking at buying, selling, or investing in either the Spokane or the Coeur d'Alene market, reach out to me and I'd be honored to work with you or at least just give you some advice. Like I said, my name is Phil Wells, and thank you for watching.